Hey gang, welcome back to K-Man Don't Know Shit. Wow, I'm really excited about this, but I want to start off by saying that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at InPrint. InPrint.com is where you go, get in touch with them. And they print, man, like band merch. I mean, honestly, there's so many musicians watching this. I know a lot of my friends are in bands and stuff like that. They make great band merch. In fact, this t-shirt right here, yay, that was made at InPrint. Call them up. Just go to inprint.com. Their phone number's on there. Call them up or send them an email and tell them K-Man sent you and just see what's what and see if you guys, can make some cool shit together. All right. Well, on this episode and why I'm so excited is I get to see an old friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Harris. Now, Andrew is a very interesting guy, and I met him because we did a tour. The Planet Smashers released their Too Much Information album as we released our Stand With The Youth album. And so we did a double launch tour together, and Andrew came on the road with us and did sound and was just such a pleasure to be with. I mean, he's, the type of guy that if you're sitting in the front seat of the van and he's sitting next to you, you can talk for hours. He's just awesome. He does jujitsu. He studied physics. I studied sound, does live sound everywhere. He's just an all-around great guy, and I just can't wait to do this. So let's get it on. Thank you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell thingy and all that jazz as we grow this all together, okay? Let's do it. Boom! K-Man don't know shit! I learned that.
Yeah.
My brother, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing
you
all
could
right.
do it with opening a beer can. Actually, you could do the.
You're right. Why didn't I think of
I
that?
don't know.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Colt 45s, and we got zigzags over there.
Yeah.
Anything goes. Because it's my house. That's the beauty of this show.
Yeah.
It's not a radio thing. There's nobody telling us what to do. There's no rules. Just shooting the shit. How you been, Andrew Harris?
I've been very well. It's been a journey over the past few months, and I'm pretty pleased with where things are going. How about you?
Right on. Doing great. It's cool to see you here in Montreal because I've seen you in pretty much every other city in Canada. For you, those of you that don't know, Andrew came on tour with my band, K-Man the 45s, and our other stomp band, the Planet Smashers. And Andrew did sound for that tour. And we had a blast and went all the way out to Vancouver Island. Yeah, we went to Victoria. Yeah, went to Victoria, got messed up in Victoria, and made our way back. So basically, but this is the first time I've ever seen you in Montreal.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But I mean, I used to come here all the time with the Johnstones, and before that, Robin Black.
I didn't know you worked with him.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For like 4 years, I did sound for them, and they were very happy days.
I'm sure they were.
I had a real good time with those guys.
Well, it's cool because I really like just jumping in on stuff like this. Basically, you've been doing live sound on the road for years, which I mean, it's a whole other game. I mean, I know lots of soundmen that work in one specific venue, all right, where they come in, it's their setup from the night before. They know every inch of that place.
Right.
It blows my mind how you come into a venue that sometimes you've never been to, have to figure it out on the fly and just go, because just that, I mean, we all know that. Well, we don't all know, but some of us know that every system is just radically different, right?
Yeah. Well, it helps to have a methodology. It helps to kind of have a thing where you can, if you can get it to what we would consider flat, like quote unquote flat, and you have the volume that you need out of the system, then you can just basically mix as though you mix anywhere else.
Yeah.
The trouble is, first of all, trying to get a lot of speakers to exhibit what we would consider a flat response, especially older speakers. The speaker technology has come a long way in the past 20 years.
Right.
It's like, I think you remember Vancouver, right? Remember?
I remember breaking down on the highway and showing up at the last second. I remember that.
I had a really easy night in Vancouver. The PA was just like, I barely had to do anything.
Where was that show again? Was that at the Rickshaw?
Capitol?
No, Capitol. Yeah. At Capitol. That's right.
The following night, and then their crew were very good. The
absolutely.
in-house crew were very good. The following night, in Victoria, in-house crew were still very good, but they were working with much older speakers, and so trying to get that to flat and loud, it ended up being a battle of volume. And
Right.
I felt Matt's parents were there. I felt so bad. They're in their 70s or 80s. And
Sounded great to me, bro.
it was way too loud. But that was my only choice, because like you can like until you have to get it loud enough so it's clear. And with the older speakers, that was like a lot louder than you need to get it with the newer speakers. So,
but that's it. Like, you know, and I don't know how many main cities there are in Canada that we play in and stuff like that. But I mean, yes, some places, you know, are more cutting edge, more modern and stuff like this, like the capital. But I mean, that seems like it's far from the norm. You know, depending on the venues you're playing, of course.
Well, and the other thing too is the smaller the venue and the like the lower the ceiling, the smaller the venue, the more you can get away with using like equipment that's like a little bit less than you would maybe want.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say is that managing personalities is very difficult sometimes. In a lot of cases, I walk in and the in-house tech is very helpful and knowledgeable, and also not threatened by the fact that I'm there.
I was going to ask you, because I mean, isn't it kind of like cooking in somebody else's house? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how do they greet like you? I mean, often what happens is the local sound man will probably do the local band sound.
Yeah.
Except I know sometimes you just say, I'll just do it the whole night and stuff like that.
Sometimes that's to my advantage. Sometimes I talk them into it because, like, for instance, last time we were in London, Ontario, I was with Planet Smashers and Boyd's.
Yeah.
And the original plan was we were just going to do Planet Smashers, but we didn't get into the venue in time to do a sound check.
Right.
And so Boyd's, like, I was going to be doing Planet Smashers on the fly, no sound check. And so I basically went to the guys in Boyd's and said, listen, I'm going to take care of you guys tonight because it's going to give me an opportunity to, like, rough in a mix, right?
The Boyds became the sound check.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good thing they're good. I love by the way, the Boyds have a brand new album out. Check it out. They just released the first single off it. Go check it. Hello, Chai. How are you doing? Chai likes the Boyds as well.
In Montreal next week, by the way.
That's right.
They're playing in Ottawa and Montreal next week. Unfortunately, I am here this week because I would have loved to go to that show, but you know.
Are you in Toronto next weekend?
I am.
Cool. So we'll see you at the Bovine Sex Club.
Do you want me to do sound?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's possible. I haven't talked to anybody there, but yeah.
How many times do we walk in and I go, yeah, I'm doing sound?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
yeah.
Hey, I'll get you a free sandwich and a beer.
There you go.
Actually, one thing I love about playing at the Bovine in Toronto is just a couple of buildings down. There's Pat's Jamaican restaurant. Ever go to that one? Oh man.
My thing
Spicy,
at the Bovine,
that place.
My thing at the Bovine was I used to work at the Big Bop, which was
Yeah,
across the street.
Didn't they have three floors?
Yes, yeah. So there was like plenty of work at the Big Bop, and then I also worked at Healy's, which was in the basement of the Paddock Tavern.
That's Jeff Healy's place, right?
It was.
It was, right, sorry.
And God rest his soul.
Yes, absolutely. Incredible. I got a great story about him after.
I also have plenty of stories about
woohoo!
him. But so there used to be a place called Shawarma Queen.
Yes.
That was across the street from the Big Bop, and I ate there almost every single night.
I've eaten there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Does it still exist?
I don't think it's there anymore.
So I'm going back over 9 years when I said I ate there. I know because I was in a different band at that point.
The I think that, okay, so this is the fucking this is the 0 hour for Toronto. There's a Starbucks, I believe, at that corner that I think is going to be torn down so they can build condos. How do you get to a point where you need the Starbucks to build your condo?
Well, it's something. I mean, we're bouncing around subjects completely, and I love it. That's my style as well. But I wonder if people think of this, and I hope somebody does. All these cool neighborhoods, whether it's in Toronto, whether it's in Montreal, Vancouver, for that reason, you know, and you know, they're driving the prices up in a neighborhood. You know, over a couple of years, it's separating the rich and the poor. Next thing, no condos are coming up, and then you know they're selling these condos, which to me seems like the dumbest idea in the world to ever buy a condo, because you
don't own the land.
well, and you don't have freedom if you share it with other people. Like
Right.
when it comes time to fix your roof,
Yeah.
well, it's voted in. We're doing it now. Do you have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
money ready to go at that point on
Right.
somebody else's agenda and stuff like that? Condos are the stupidest thing. But here's my point. Check this out.
Okay.
So they start putting up condos in a neighborhood, but where does it stop? When the neighborhood is not cool anymore, they've torn down all the good shit, all the cool mom and pop shops for stuff that you can't get elsewhere that made that place cool to begin with. Then condos start and they start and they start. And we haven't really gotten to the end. But what happens when there's no more space and it's all condo? There's nothing else left there.
There's nothing to do but go to work and go home to your condo. And I've been saying that for years.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Condos are the biggest bullshit lie in the world. Sorry to all you condo owners there, but it's bullshit, man.
Yeah. It's I mean, not that if somebody gave me a condo, I wouldn't turn it down.
Of course, I'd have wicked parties in somebody else's condo.
Right? But yeah, I mean, like it's part of the problem too is the cost of living is increasing and people's wages aren't.
Yeah, well, that's it.
We've already discussed that.
Yeah.
Thanks, but...
And I mean, like, when I'm not playing music, I work for the community. And honestly, I'm making $1 more an hour than I made 16 years ago at another job in the community as well. But you can't tell me that gas prices have only went up, that percentage, or food bills. I mean, the quality of living. I mean, even when people, like, I talk to a lot of youth and they're like, man, I put so much money on my iPhone or whatever,
Right.
Whereas back in the day it was like $19 from Bell landline.
Yeah.
I mean, we had so much more money, and you went to your local bar for $5 pitchers so that you could all afford to be social.
Right.
Right? And everybody would hang out together. Those days are long freaking gone, man.
Here's the thing, though. A buddy of mine runs the student center at the University of Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that kids don't go out anymore.
No, they
Kids
don't.
stay home. They play video games. They don't drink anymore.
And it's not even just by choice.
No.
They
it's
can't
like-
afford it.
That's just, the
How much is a fucking McHappy meal right now?
I have no
Why, when I say or whatever trio is, we were talking.
idea. Like $10 or something.
I think that's even going back a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's over $12.
You know, the Johnstones used to give me shit because we would go to. I would try and encourage them to go to Wendy's because that's my favorite.
The square
fast
burger
food.
joint.
Yeah, it's my favorite fast food hamburger. You're welcome.
We'll be taking donations from Wendy's and your baked potato, man. Oh my God, that's sexy.
Yeah, but I would never get the combo because I don't like pop.
Right.
And I don't like French fries.
Well, especially
So I just get the burger, and they'd be like, "What the fuck? The combo's like $3 more." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's $3 for stuff I don't want." Like,
exactly. and what kills me with that too is, like, those drinks, the soft drinks that you get out of the fountains. How much do you think they're paying per drink out of that fountain?
14 cents?
I think you're being more than generous. I bet you it's probably more around 4 to 8. I think it's something like that. You know what I mean? It's insane. I don't like the way this shit's going at all, because, like, I work with young teenagers when I'm not on the road.
Yeah.
And they are not having the experiences that I grew up with, which is okay, generation to generation. We all say that, but they don't seem to be having as much fun.
No. And
You know, everything, the biggest differences I'm seeing is these days, it's not a question of morals, right and wrong. It's what's legal and not legal.
Right, and that's dangerous.
Right?
That's like, I mean, the Holocaust was legal, and hiding Jews was illegal.
Of course, we just jumped from 0 to 10 million, but yeah,
But no,
absolutely.
that's the most extreme case. But like, there's all kinds of laws that are on the books that
Yeah.
I would consider amoral or immoral.
Absolutely. But I mean, like, we're becoming such a law-driven society, and I literally heard kids tell their parents, well, it's legal, so it's okay. Or this is not legal, so I'll do it, and I'm a badass. And nobody ever just says I won't do it, right? That's not in the vocabulary. But all that to say that I've noticed the change. Right. And I mean, like say, it's, cell phones, video games, hanging out, or like if they're on welfare, they can't afford places on
so
welfare,
expensive
stuff
to
like
be
that.
Poor.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because poor people, but like
Yeah,
in
people-
general, people who are disadvantaged financially are working their asses off at
Absolutely.
minimum wage
Yeah.
just to afford the rent on their apartment. they're working hours that are like way beyond
Jobs that you probably lose money by going to the job.
two
You know what I mean?
2
Like
or 3 jobs at a time.
Yeah.
You don't have time to go to the grocery store because you're working 2 or 3 jobs at a time because you can't turn down the work.
And because you're not getting a paycheck ahead, you're eating food that's more expensive and
you're going to
shitty.
McDonald's. And
Maybe you're walking or paying public transport.
Yeah.
Maybe because you grew up in this area, you smoke cigarettes or whatever. And it's easy to be preachy and say, well, they shouldn't do that. But you know what? You are what you grow into.
And also, if you get hooked on something, it's
Fuck
easy
yeah,
to be
man.
preachy about having
Absolutely
gotten hooked on something.
Yeah.
But like once you're hooked on it, guess what? You're hooked on it.
Yeah, but my point is, like, somebody that's, a youth of today, let's say an 18-year-old person that maybe even stayed in foster care before that and stuff like that, okay? There's $12 a day, maybe give or take, on cigarettes. And that's just what, in his reality, that's necessity. So I'm not going to say it's not. That's part of his budget. The food is part of the budget. He might not even have a place to stay. Maybe he's staying in shelters. Maybe he has an apartment that he can't afford. Maybe there are 4 people in a 0-bedroom apartment, sharing it. So we're not talking functional kitchen.
They're selling queen-size bunk beds now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Queen-size bunk beds. You know what that means? That means there's couples living in the same room. Mm-hmm. Top shelf, bottom shelf.
Yeah.
And
I've seen so many youth today that also, like, they end up in relationships that they don't even want to necessarily be in because it's a matter of survival.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is. It's incredible. I could go on and on and on for days about this. And that episode is coming. I'm going to be having a friend on here to talk just all about this because it's driving me insane. And it's driving me insane the attitude of the baby boomers towards this generation as well. Like, in our day, it's not the same game. No. It really is not.
And the other thing is, if you're saying, well, in my day, this and that, and I turned out fine, and what you're hoping is that the other people will struggle, you didn't turn out fine.
Well, that's it. That's well said. I like that one. I'm gonna use that. For sure. But it's really something. But let me ask you, like, getting back to live sound, because
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I love it. I love it. And my job, me, the most organized person in the world, to bring people back on track. Said no K-man ever said that. But yeah, what got you into doing live sound? Like, how did this happen? Like, did you study in this? Did you just have contacts?
So the story is that I wanted to be a rock star when I was a teenager.
Hell yeah.
And I have very little talent.
Okay. I would challenge that statement, but I'll let you keep going.
I attempted to teach myself to play the guitar, and I did not practice effectively. I didn't take lessons. I didn't follow a method. I didn't own a tuner. I tuned to the guitar. I never played along with anything.
Right.
So I kind of failed at the idea of trying to be, a teenage rock star.
Yeah.
But my father had a friend who owned a recording studio. It was Sound Sensations, I think it was called.
In Toronto?
In Mississauga.
Okay, yeah.
What's his name? Lawrence Sykes, I think.
I like the name.
That was his name. And weirdly, a guitar player that I'm very good friends with worked at his studio. And I didn't know him until years and years later. But the thing is, Lawrence lived in the building that my father was a security guard in. And he found out that I was interested in rock and roll and whatever. And he would bring me professional sound magazines. He would bring professional sound magazines to give to my father to bring to me.
Yeah.
And I got into...
For these iPad and iPhone people, that's like ink on paper.
With advertisements.
Right, with advertisements.
Yeah. And so I would devour these professional sound magazines, and I got into the idea of, well, I could be a recording engineer, I could be a record producer.
Yeah, man.
And as my fallback.
That's hilarious.
And then I saw probably the greatest concert I've ever seen in my life. It was.
That's what we want to know. What was it?
It was 1995. It was Pop Will Eat Itself, Marilyn Manson, Reverend Horton Heat, Nine Inch Nails, and Soundgarden.
Jesus, what a stacked lineup.
Right?
I mean, just Reverend Horton Heat by himself, by the way, is the best one in the bunch. There.
Well, my favorite was Nine Inch Nails, and
Yeah.
I had never heard their music before.
Okay.
But then I saw them, and I was just like, "This is fucking phenomenal!"
Yeah.
Right?
Well, when they came out, it was a whole thing, right? I mean,
yeah.
this did not exist. Really, you could make a couple of arguments for a couple other people. But,
Yeah, like
you know,
the only big concert I'd seen before was like Metallica and Danzig.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
just like, okay, so there's some guys in jeans on stage and they're dancing around, and whatever.
Exactly.
But then like they like the Nine Inch Nails, this Trent Reznor has like a Gibson Les Paul by the headstock and is like smashing the fuck out of a keyboard. It's like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
How old were you?
How old am I?
No, how old were you?
Oh, I was 16, 15.
And that's it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I definitely want to be doing something live music.
Mm-hmm.
And then so but I had this production thing. I wanted to be a record producer and blah blah blah. And so I went to a school. I had a co-op at a place in Toronto that I don't think is there anymore, called Save by Technology.
Okay.
They sold mainly keyboards and recording equipment, and synthesizers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I quit one day because one of the guys trying to be a tough guy, he was having a bad day or whatever. He told me if I ever talked to him that way again, I was like, he was a purchaser, and I told him, you need to purchase more of this thing, and he's like, you ever tell me what to do again, I'm gonna drag you out in the alley and kick the shit out of you. And I was like, okay, well, I'm 17 years old, I'm not gonna be sticking around
What
for
a
this.
dick! Who is this fucker?
His name's Chris Selden, and I haven't
Sorry,
seen
bro.
him in years. But anyway, so I quit. I was just like, I didn't tell anybody that's why. I just kind of went,
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm not coming back here.
Older people bullying young people, man. I got no tolerance for that shit.
Well, but anyway, one of the cool things that happened as a result of doing that co-op is two of the people that had worked there had gone to the Harris Institute. No relation.
I was going. I don't know what the Harris Institute is.
It's like a. Do you know what Trebas?
Yes, and that is a school for music.
Yeah.
Is it playing or recording?
Recording.
Recording.
Yeah,
Like
so
sound
production and
engineer.
management,
Yeah.
and whatever.
Okay.
So, John Harris, my father's name is also John Harris, no relation. He started this school because he worked at Trebas and decided that Trebas was not worth it, and so started the Harris Institute.
Okay.
And I was there for a year and 3 months, I think, and it was good. And I met a guy called Bo Cairo. Bo did sound for the Cowboy Junkies in the 80s.
Yeah.
And was like the house tech.
Where are they from, Cowboy Junkies?
I don't know. I think they're from Toronto.
They are a Canadian band, though.
Yeah. Definitely a Canadian band. But Bo's done sound for like everyone.
Okay.
I think he's kind of semi-retired now. He still teaches, but he doesn't really do a lot of gigs. His back's kind of fucked, so
Right.
So he, gigs require you to lift a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So. But if you're looking for the best sound guy in the world,
He's the guy.
he's the guy.
Yeah. And you learned with him.
Well, so he is very kind at saying that he took a liking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I tell the story more like I just wouldn't go away.
When you want to do
And,
something,
like-
that's the way, man.
and he was the prof who welcomed people to come to shows. He worked just like 4 or 5 nights a week doing live sound, and he was just like, as part of your requirement for the course, you had to come to 2 gigs, but you were welcome to come to as many as you wanted.
Right.
So I just started coming to every fucking night.
That's it.
So I sat beside him at Holy Joe's, which was upstairs from the Reverb. I sat beside him.
Holy Joe's, Reverb, Big Bop, all one building.
That's right.
Does that still exist?
No.
Man, I remember
Furniture
playing
store
there
now.
so long ago. Holy
It's a
shit.
furniture store now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Dominic,
Cathedral, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Big Bop Cathedral.
Okay, yeah.
Noel, when he started booking, changed the name to Cathedral because he booked mainly metal bands. And
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
That makes sense. I get it.
But Dominic, who owned that whole building and the business, I would say is the best club owner in the history of the city of Toronto. I did a rave. Like, this is one example of Dominic being fucking awesome. But I did a rave there in the late 90s, maybe the early 2000s. I can't remember. But it was like a 12-hour shift or something, and I agreed to do it for $300 or something, right?
Yeah.
End of the night, or it was more.
Which a young man should do.
Right. And the air conditioning was broken. I was sitting at the board in my underwear. And Dominic comes over and he's like, "You got the right idea, pal."
That's it, man.
I thought I was in trouble, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, it's too hot.
Yeah, it's
right?
all survival. Get through the gig.
And end of the night, he hands me $500. And I went, "No, Dom, it was $300." And he went, No, we had a really good night.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah, people don't do that.
Right.
Right?
but
That's
Dom
amazing.
did. And Dom owns the not Gasworks.
Gaslight?
What the fuck is it called? It's out by Dundas.
Is it Gaslight? No.
No,
Sneaky
it's
D's?
way out in Etobicoke. It's the prison themed bar.
Oh wait, I think I know.
You know what I'm
you're
talking
I
about,
think I
right?
played there. Yeah, they have an electric chair.
It's by Dundas West Station.
Yeah,
Or not
I
Dundas
think
West.
it's 2 floors, and upstairs they have the jail bars, and I think there's an electric chair somewhere in there.
Yeah. Fuck,
Anyway.
that's gonna bug me. I don't want to pull my phone out and look it up.
No,
right
no,
now,
no.
But anyway, you can put a link on the
Yeah, absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, he since
absolutely not going to do it.
you should totally do it.
I should totally do it.
The cool thing about that new place that he's got is, first of all, he's got a beach volleyball pit in the back.
Every place should have that.
Well, yeah, you can only do that because it's in Etobicoke. But the other thing is he's got parking. He's got parking for days, so he can pull in people who would normally not go to. And he's been booking mainly like cover bands and like, tribute bands and like bands from.
Is
back
it
in the
Hard
day.
Luck? No.
No, Hard Luck's downtown.
I just
But
I just remember getting really fucked up in that parking lot. That's why I thought of that place.
Yeah. Fuck, it's gonna bug me that I can't remember what it's called. Anyway. But anyway, and it's the same PA that used to be in the Reverb.
Oh.
I remember helping to move that PA across town. Like, we loaded it into a truck and we drove it across town. We loaded it into the new venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a few times with a couple of bands, and
So getting back to school though.
Sorry.
Okay, when you were in school studying
Yeah.
for sound, did you complete it?
I did complete it, but the thing that I found
Yeah.
is that I do not have the patience to do studio stuff.
Yeah.
It takes an ungodly amount of patience.
I can totally
to-
understand that.
To sit and listen to the same fucking thing over and over and over and
Yeah.
over again, the same 4 bars, and just go, should I change that by like 1 dB? Like, I don't have that, right?
Yeah.
So live really appealed to me because
It's the chaos effect too, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, like, and the other thing that's nice about live, I was thinking about this. I thought you were probably going to ask me this, so I was thinking about what I'm going to say about this. The nice thing about live sound, especially when I started doing live sound, is it was analog. You didn't record it unless somebody asked you to, and if you did record it, it was a board tape, so it didn't really express what it sounded like.
absolutely
in the room.
not. I've heard board tapes and
So there was no record of me having sucked at it.
that's awesome. Which brings us back to the youth of today. We
Right.
got away with so much shit because
Yeah.
not everything was on camera.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Did I just shoot myself in the foot again?
No. So like now, I think I've gotten better.
Okay.
Right? I don't think I've actually fully sucked.
Well,
right?
look, I've done probably 20 shows with you as sound. I'm just throwing that number out. I don't
Yeah.
know how many about that. And there's a few things that I liked about working with you. One was you're never stressed out in situations that I would have been. It was like, I got this, guys, and there was no wrong question or anything like that, and you didn't fucking get mad at me when I'd steal your duct tape. Those are things I look to in a soundman. And it's all about the duct tape on the road, right?
Yeah.
But like just coming in there and just, I think not only does skill come into this, and this is why I'm happy to have you on the podcast, is because it's not just about skill. It's also personality. I mean, here you are on the road with 11 other cowboys, just fucking out of control boys everywhere running around, and somebody has to, okay, we need to do this, or this is going on, and you have that in your personality. And I don't think that even if you're a great engineer in any sense, that I don't think it's made, not everybody is made for the road life as well that comes with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I get
that comes with experience, and that comes with mentorship. Like I got that from Bo.
Right.
I 100%.
I would love to meet him.
You should.
Yeah.
You should have Bo on the podcast. Unfortunately, he lives in Toronto, so you would have to take this whole fucking setup and go to Toronto.
Right.
There's no fucking way he's coming to Montreal.
This show should not be. This show should really be called Cayman's fucking lazy, and that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it sounds super interesting. Yeah.
He's a very interesting dude. He did University for Anthropology.
Really?
And then you ever heard of the band called the Diodes?
Yes, I have actually.
He was the band. That was his first band that he hooked up with. Was the Diodes, and he used to do sound at their bar called the Crash and Burn Club in Toronto.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, I kind of at one point I had a little bit of money, and I was just like, I wonder if I could open a bar and call it the Crash and Burn and get.
If you say bar one more time, something's gonna happen. Say bar. Say bar.
Bar.
Hey, grab that.
That?
No, that.
Oh.
Cheers.
Oh. Cheers.
Any flasks you see on this show are full.
Oh, all right.
See, I got this from a present from Stu. I was best man. It was I made my own Cayman flask.
Wow.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
And you can thank Sean Ryan for that whiskey. Do you know Sean Ryan? He's the bass player in the Mahones. A really good friend of mine. He was on this show last.
Oh, I don't actually. The only person that I know in the Mahones is Katie, and she doesn't really play with them anymore.
No, that's right. Katie's wonderful though.
Yeah.
I was with Finney the other day, right before they left for a tour.
Yeah.
Great bunch.
Fuck, I want to work for the Creep Show.
The Creep Show,
I've been
yeah,
wanting
man.
to work for Creep Show for years.
I'll tell you why you want to work for the Creep Show. Because they're all great people. There's not one sour grape in that group. I love them. You know what I mean?
But the other thing is they work all the time.
There is
so
that.
It's like
they'll give you more than a beer and a sandwich too.
Right? Yeah. No, I've talked to them, and I run into them on my corporate sound stuff as well. And I've talked to Finney about it a little bit, but he's busy. So,
I totally get it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I really like about people that are really in this business, and because everybody's hanging out and crossing paths all the time, and everybody will offer you something, or you will offer them something, right?
Right.
But what I love about the lifers, I call them, the people that are in this is, just a part of their life and they continue their life, is that there's never any hard feelings about saying, oh, no, I can't, or I'm doing something else. Yeah. Because we all understand that. You can't do everything. Sometimes you can afford things, sometimes you can't. And that's you know what I mean? There's that attitude. That's how aside from you play Bovine, you get somebody messaging, I film my live shows. We'll charge you $500. I'm like, thank you, but no thank you. You know what I mean? That just happened today, by the way. Probably really nice people, but the lifers know that's not how we're gonna work.
No, the lifers will call you and say, "Listen, I'll film your show. Can you get me in without paying cover?"
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah,
because
man.
At this level, and this is something that I've noticed. I am not going to disclose details about this, but there was a band that I worked for where I noticed that at the level they were at, they were basically making guarantees as an opener band.
Yeah.
And a lot of money was going to their management.
Yeah,
and
that happens a lot too.
I was like, but most managers that I know don't do that. Most managers, when they're at this level, are banking on them getting bigger.
Again, they always snatch them up when they're young or starting out and say you need a manager when you really don't. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes, it helps to have a crew of people helping you, and you're all going in the same direction. Yeah, but again, there's something. I wonder if there's way more managers in Toronto than anywhere else in Canada. And I'd like to say per capita as well, because I don't want to say just Toronto's bigger and that's why. But there's something in the culture compared to other cities. Like I don't know bands with managers really in a lot of other cities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually you have your crew of people that help you, and everybody brings a skill to the table, and you all kind of move together, on one thing. It's interesting, but it's a few times like I've been approached by managers in Toronto and stuff, and I can do this for you, and this for you, and this for you.
And what
I'm
is
like,
it that they're telling you?
I'm
that
like,
you do?
I'm busy, man. I can't have this conversation. I gotta go because I got another gig out here. I got this coming on. You know what I mean? Like, it's really funny. But I mean, I get it. That especially when you're starting out, Django's just going to town on that bone, man.
That's his job. He's doing dog stuff.
That's it. To Django.
To Django.
Yeah, man. Yay. Is your beer empty?
Yeah, I'm running out.
Oh, you should probably run to the beer fridge.
Okay, do you want one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, stay with your phone. Do dog stuff.
Django, come here, buddy. Come here.
Coronas?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Do these have twist tops?
No, but do you have a lighter or anything like that?
Do you know the drummer in Gob? I think his name was Gabe, actually.
In Gob?
Yeah.
Gabe and Gob.
Gabe and Gob.
Shout out to Gabe and Gob.
I think that was his name. I can't remember, but he used to do it with a drumstick.
Yeah, I usually have all kinds of stuff kicking around here. Wait a minute. Usually I just have a lighter in my pocket, so light my spliff up with that. And here it is.
Do you want to do a demo about how to do this so that people...
How to do this?
Yeah.
All right. You take your bottle. Take it just like a trigger finger, but in your left hand, or right if you are left-handed. You hold it like a trigger. Get the lighter under there. This is your pivot right on here. In one motion, pop. Let's see if I...
There you go.
Pop. Because nobody ever gets that right. All right, you on it?
Yeah, I got it.
See, he has a different technique.
Well, that's embarrassing. Can you just do this for me?
Absolutely. Sadly, I've become a professional.
It's been a long time since I had to do this, so...
There you go, man.
Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Cheers. Boom. So good to have you here. What are you doing in Montreal right now?
So...
I kind of half know the answer, but I don't really.
Yeah. So I work for a company in Toronto that does audiovisual for corporate.
Okay.
Right? That's how I make my actual living.
Yeah.
When I go on tour with you guys or...
You mean on vacation with us?
on a semi-paid vacation.
Yep, absolutely.
It's like it pays enough that I don't lose money by doing it, but I don't actually make any money. It's like I have to plan for it.
Absolutely.
The company that one of the companies that I work for is doing a thing for a credit card company at an event venue here. There's 3 spots throughout Canada, and so my job was to organize the labor and design for this I should just show you the display.
Yeah.
For their...
You'll have to send me the picture after.
Yes, I will. And it's actually a video.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because it incorporates multiple video screens and just like...
What's the name of the production?
I don't know.
You're fired!
I don't know if I should tell you.
Okay, yeah, don't.
The client.
Don't.
But this is what it is all those TVs are different types of TV, and
Basically, I'm looking at 8 different TVs, and they're all split screen, so that there's kind of they become one image, but they're not square. That looks really cool, man.
Yeah.
So they do these.
So that's one of the things that I work as like a production manager kind of thing for them, and doing sound for corporate events and video and stuff.
Do you think? Okay, you have 2. You just named it. You have these 2 skills. One is you do live sound, and you're talking about being production manager. You out of like. I've known lots of production people. I've known lots of soundmen. But it's rare that I see somebody combine those 2 strengths of their personality and knowledge in one. But that's exactly what I was getting at before when I was saying that, you're able to, get these cowboys in line and stuff like that. But that's your production manager side.
Yeah.
Well, so all that say, though, you also drive and safely.
Yeah,
I like that. You're the perfect guy to go on the road, man.
Well, I don't drink before the show is because I gotta have my wits about me for.
I hate when I see soundmen drink. That goes out to all you soundmen, especially in smaller venues. As soon as I'm done a sound check and I see a soundman not just sipping a beer, but like heavy drinking or drinking multiple. Listen, alcohol and being a soundman are not the best combination.
And honestly, like, dude, I didn't have that philosophy. Well, I did. Bo gave me that philosophy, and I started to ignore it in my mid-20s. To my detriment.
Yep.
It damaged my credibility. It damaged my reputation. But I just, like, it got so boring being a sound guy because it was just so easy, right? But it's not easy for everybody. It's just that I had so much, behind me that so many, and that's like Bo pulled me aside at one point. It was like, you disrespect me because you took everything that I taught you and now you're just making a joke of it, right?
See, in my crew or being on the road, there's two things I learned, or two types that I don't want to see drinking. It's A, my drummer, and B, my soundman. It's my job to get fucked up.
Right.
But I need both those because, like, as a guitar player, I need my drummer to keep me in check if I'm getting all wily. And I need my soundman to fucking help me out if I'm getting all wily. So basically, see how that all revolves around me? I'm getting all wily.
So the one thing that I would say is the one thing that changed my perspective on it is the number of times when shit that was not my responsibility went sideways on a gig. Yeah. And the question was asked, well, how many beers did Andrew have?
They used it as the
and
escape.
It's just like,
as soon as they say you drank, it was automatically his fault.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like, okay, that's one thing.
Yeah, okay,
Second,
I gotcha.
Digital, pages. Going back and forth between pages on a digital mixer is so fucking confusing that it's impossible for me to get fucked up and try and do it.
Okay, here's the question for you, just based on that. When you're doing live sound, usually there's in a bigger venue, there's a monitor guy doing monitor sound, and there's a front of the house guy. You've done both roles, if I'm not mistaken. You're most often a front of the house guy, I think.
Well, for you guys, but I do monitors as well. So
now, I'm going to ask you the same question, but in both roles. Analog or digital front of the house, and analog or digital as a monitor man, which do you prefer? Because I have a feeling about something here.
I know this is an unpopular opinion.
Yes.
But I prefer digital in both worlds.
Okay, cool.
Because I know, like, I remember, first of all, if I have to set it up, I remember huffing like a 40 channel or 50 channel Midas mixer up onto a scaffold. It weighs like 1,000 pounds, and there's 8 guys on this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then you have to do the EQ rack, and then you have to do the processing rack, and then you have to do like your playback rack, and it's like, I regularly walk around with like my front of house under my arm now.
Well, that's it.
Right?
Did you see why I loaded that question though about the separating the monitor and the front?
No, I do.
Because when you're a monitor guy, I could understand why somebody might be liking digital more or analog more as front house. You know what I mean? And that's probably debatable. Like I said, some people might hate that answer. Okay, fair enough. But as far as a monitor mix guy, I definitely like digital more. For the reason that they can walk around on stage and fucking check what the sound is as they're changing it.
Well, that because I don't actually
with the iPads and stuff.
I don't own an iPad, but I do recognize
Apple. Can you sponsor him? Cheap bastards.
I do recognize the value in doing that. The reason that for monitors I like digital is that I get somebody's monitor mix happening, I hit save.
Yeah.
And then the next band comes on.
Exactly.
And I make adjustments and I hit save. And they each have their own scene. And then when
soundmen stick to it though once it's saved? Because I will take blame as a musician for one thing.
What's that?
Okay, all musicians always blame the soundman. But how many musicians after sound check get back on and their settings are not the same anymore, right?
No.
Especially if there's multiple bands sharing amps.
Well, that's that, but also how many musicians get back on stage and they've been drinking? Because your high frequency response goes down as you get more drunk.
Right? Yep.
So,
but that's why I don't want soundmen to drink.
But it's the job of the person doing monitors to be responsive.
Yeah.
one of the reasons that I pointed out the Capitol
Yeah,
theater guys.
Yeah, is it
and
Capitol Ballroom, right?
The Capitol
Yeah, I
Ballroom.
think that's what it's called.
And the guys in Victoria were also very good on monitors. Is that they were very responsive and they
were.
had no attitude.
Yeah.
So it's just like
I always
get on
have great
stage-
experiences in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Victoria. I always have great experiences with sound there.
Right.
East Coast, touch and go.
Oh my
Montreal, in general, it's a different way of doing shit.
God. I have a story about the East Coast, man.
Oh, hit me. I got. We better fucking charge up the batteries because we could do this one for a while. East Coast, talk to me.
The first tour I ever got hired for,
Uh-huh.
the first big, like the first out of town tour.
Yeah.
I was doing Robin Black stuff, but it was like,
But like, you're talking more than a week on the road.
yeah. It was Sky Sweetnam, who is currently in Sumo Psycho.
Okay, yeah. Who's the
and
guitar player in Sumo Psycho?
Matt Drake.
Matt Drake.
Yeah.
I saw he said hi on like social media or whatever the other day, and he used to rap, I think, back in the day.
He had a band.
He did all, but like really dark, like he looked like death with like a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
knife and stuff. And from the moment I met that guy, I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's awesome, man. That's funny.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
a friend in common. Yeah.
So
Matt Drake, fucking keep on keeping on,
Drake.
brother. Boom.
So anyway, Sky got this tour opening up for Sean Desmond, I want to say. Is he the guy who had the dancing and the lip syncing and I can't remember. Anyway,
Oh yeah. He was the guy with chlamydia that gave it to a whole bunch of girls that passed it on to a bunch of our friends.
that checks out.
Yeah. My grandfather also said never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Right.
Thanks, Grandpa.
No. I don't actually know Sean. So
Neither do I, by the way.
That's in no way factual.
You can bleed the rock that I own in the backyard for as much as you want.
Yeah. Anyway, the first show of that tour was at Harbor Station in St. John.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Harbor Station?
I know about the 10-year-old kid that was dirt all over his face, followed our band as we're walking over a little bridge right by there, and he's a little rough, missing a tooth in the front. Little kid, right? In his little BMX bike that just passed us as we're walking on the sidewalk. Turned his bike to block us. Now, we're talking the kid that's not 4 feet tall here.
Right.
We're talking 3.5, said, "You guys pay taxes?"
What?
And so we all busted out laughing. This kid said, "Go on, kid. We're gonna go get some French fries if you want to come." That's how. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, I felt for that. I actually respected that kid, man. He was doing what he had to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, four big guys.
That's hilarious.
But that's all I know about that area.
Hilarious. So Harbor Station is a hockey arena.
Okay.
It's made entirely of concrete, and you know when you do a sound check, you basically start at kick drum and you get to vocals, right?
Yeah. I was actually going to ask. Well, why don't we do that now?
Okay.
Okay. Here's the question or / I want to learn something. Now I've done it a million times, yes, but I want it from your point of view. Band shows up. Now they're a new band, but they're exploding and they're sounding good and they're talented, but they're not used to doing too many live shows. How does the process go?
I say, okay, guys, let's get your stuff on the stage. And generally, I'll hear guitars like being strummed and whatever. And if I find that that I think the volume's going to be a problem, I'll plant the seed and just kind of go, hey, so just so you know, this club is like it's not a problem with larger stages.
Yep.
But with a smaller club, if your volume's out of control, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Right. Just so you know, guys, your fans are going to want to hear the vocals. If your volume on your guitar amp is so loud that I can't get the vocals over the top without it feeding back,
Because amps today can overpower PAs.
well. The other thing is a 60-watt guitar amp in a small club is it's a force to be reckoned with, and it doesn't matter that it's only 60 watts.
Yeah.
Right. So, and so usually people are receptive and whatever, and I will usually try and sidewash amps.
Yes.
It doesn't always work out. Sometimes because of stage space, it just didn't work out. But the advantage there is that I mean, we're not crickets. We don't have ears in the back of our legs. So having the amp right behind us doesn't really make sense. But having it over here, now you can, all of a sudden, you can hear yourself.
I'm so happy you say that. I like space between my amp and me.
Yeah, but it's shooting right at the side of your head, so you can hear everything, right?
Did you know that as a guitar player, I kind of break that rule? I'm often asked if I want to raise my amp and stuff like that. I do like it on the floor.
Yeah. You know what? My favorite is the Fenders with the kick out legs.
Yeah, see, I have those. I have the Fender Supersonic, all tube with. You remember when we couldn't find which tubes were broken?
Yeah.
It has with Dave Cooper too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a hard time. I like to hear off access instead of straight as a laser.
Yeah. So what I'll usually do, because the drummer usually takes the most amount of time.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason that I start.
Makes sense though. He owns the most mics.
Yeah. So he. No, he takes the most amount of time to set up.
Yes,
so
and that as well.
By the time the drummer's set up.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I start with drums.
Okay.
Smart. Mean, traditionally, people start with drums, and I went through a phase where I was trying to start with vocals, and it annoyed a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I start with drums.
Okay.
Right.
That's the norm.
Get a drum sound, whatever. Yeah. Right.
But it is I see why you might have wanted to start with vocals. I understand both sides of the story. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're not playing the bell center or whatever, there is a ceiling to how the vocals can be. So sometimes in smaller places or where there's smaller PAs, if you're starting with drums and bass and guitars and stuff like that, and then want to put your vocals on top of it after, sometimes there's not space for that vocal to lie on top, right?
And that's the thing is like I will do the studio guy thing where I'll get every instrument sounding like I think it should sound. So drums, bass, guitars, keys, horns, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And as each person is doing their if they're performers who have an instrument as well as sing, I'll have them like check their vocal in the monitor to make sure that they can hear themselves well enough. Right. Then I pull all the faders down.
Yeah.
Just leave the vocals up.
Then you can ease them back in. Yeah.
And then I have them try a song. And then I start with kick drum and bass.
It's my biggest problem at shows now. I find because systems are better and you can push bass a lot more than in the past, and bass that doesn't sound like a laser beam. That often the vocals are buried in music, and I find that that's happening a lot in Everything's Loud, which is okay if that's what you're looking for. But every once in a while, you do want a vocalist to shine, or you want their vocal to be bouncing on top of the mix, right? And the music is there to support the vocals in some musical situations.
Yeah, you know how I got really good at mixing vocals? Listen to broadcast news.
Oh, really?
On headphones.
Yeah.
Sit and listen to broadcast news on headphones, and you'll listen to what a human
they got
voice
the best
should sound like.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny. My pet peeve with soundmen a lot, and I don't know if there's.
Can I guess? Is that they don't listen?
Right. Motherfucker!
It's 90% of the job.
Yeah, man. No, but there's two things I've learned over the years that I like for me personally. One is before any miking or EQing or anything going through the system, this is the big step that I find almost everybody misses. I want my band's gear on stage, set up, and before you're mixing, I want to play for even if it's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Before any monitors or mains are on.
Yeah.
Because what always happens, this is where soundmen also have trouble, is that it's usually done one at a time and together is at the end, right?
Right.
Now, what happens is I like to have as much of a natural mix as possible. I can't tell how loud my guitar needs to be vis-a-vis the drums or the bass. Or the horns for that matter, until we play. Everybody's like, okay, give me your guitar. Okay, but I don't know yet how loud I want my amplifier.
Yeah, I don't know how loud it needs to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I find there's never room for that step.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about a 30 seconds. I just need to hit my guitar a few times with the bass and drum riding before anything's in a speaker.
That's not out of line. And honestly, it might be something that I build into my process.
Because that would change my life. And I've learned one other thing, especially in larger venues, because there's a huge, massive difference between small venue, medium venue, and large venue. It's so massive. For instance, on massive venues, I've learned that when they're like, what do you want in your monitor? Because everything is very distant on a large stage.
Yeah.
You
don't know.
Well, but this is what I've learned, though, is that, let's say I'm the second band on, or a band has already done a sound check for me.
Right.
I find they'll have, over in one monitor, you'll have instrument A, B, C.
Right.
In this monitor over here, you'll have D, E, F a lot because that's what he needed and stuff.
Yeah.
I've so changed on that. I want everything in my monitor up about 1/5.
Right.
Okay. And then I want to boost some things.
Do you know how
because
I
I
do
feel
that when
so
I'm doing
disconnected. I want to hear my music as a whole.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. Do you know how I do that when I'm on a festival?
Talk to me. Yeah.
Because I get the band on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and as we're doing like a sound check or like a line check, right?
Right.
I'll say, okay, hold your hand up if you need that in your monitor.
Yeah. I've seen you. I've seen you do
And,
this. Yeah.
and as okay, I'm on you now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they'll put their
Yeah.
hand down and whatever. I'll go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's probably being louder than they actually need it. They're probably going to be like, I need less of whatever.
Yeah.
But we're starting from somewhere,
Exactly.
as opposed to we're starting from
See,
silence.
that's why I'm saying now, I'm like, I want everything just a fraction in there to start.
Yeah.
You know, I want that to be my new baseline. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to bring the music together, not all isolated and separate. Because I've done in the last 4 shows we did, they were all on really big stages.
Right.
And even if I'm moving from one end of the stage to the other, everything is so isolated. That's like, oh, background vocal is super loud here. Okay, drums here and bass over here, like in a spatial. It's like,
Honestly,
I know what
you move around, you should be on ears, man.
Yeah, I know. Fuck, whose dick do I have to suck to get ears?
I don't know.
God damn, find me that dick.
I honestly, they're not that expensive anymore.
No, eh?
Yeah. $100.
You know what's funny? You said the amount that I move around. Did you know that until recently I didn't realize how much I moved around?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I had a talk with a friend of mine right here at this table, and I was talking about how people keep time in music, and I've always been my entire body.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I'm just moving to the rhythm of my band.
Yeah.
And I saw a video of us live recently. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I should stop moving so much, you know?
No, you shouldn't.
Right.
You should just we should just have a solution for you.
It's full
right?
body motion, you know what I mean? Like that's literally
like
what it
Matt
is.
is like on his fucking spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he sings well. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers, Matt.
Yeah, man.
The thing about Matt too, his music has a lot more lyrics than yours does.
Yeah.
So it's like every measure of every bar has something. So he's at that spot. So he can do.
I would love to do a challenge to Matt. Is like we view a concert of his and a concert of mine and see who made up lyrics the most. And who remembered the most lyrics. Man, I'm freestyling half the fucking time. I could tell by the girl in the front row mouthing the lyrics better than I know them. Thank you, girl. That's awesome, man. What was the longest tour you've been on? Because I know that you were with the Johnstones for quite a while on the road. We've just done one tour together, and then odd shows here and there.
Yeah.
I know you've done tours with other people, but was it with the Johnstones that you were on the road the most?
Johnstones, I was on because when I was at Robin Black, it was one nighters just out of town. I had a day job, and I would just drive out and do the. I think Johnstones was the longest I was just like separated from the city of Toronto.
Right.
And that was a crazy set of years.
Well, how many years?
That was 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years on the road?
Yeah.
God damn.
I mean, on and off. Like,
of course. No band is always on the road. Like, people, like, even I've caught myself saying that. I've been on the roads for years. Yes, there's time on the road and time off the road, of course.
I was having a conversation with Jarek, who's the guitar player. He's now
I remember him. It's been a long time, bro.
He's now in F. Scott and the Nighthawks.
Django nailed that camera. I just realized it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just staring right at me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, well, this video will be a funny one. What the hell?
it's just
Hey,
gonna
man,
be
don't know
staring
shit, man.
straight at me
Man, he's
while I
go-
stare at you.
Right? He's just going crazy on that bone, and he nailed the mic stand. I didn't notice it.
Anyway, I was having a conversation with Jerry, and I was going, that 5 years that we were out on the road, like, even if I was a very wealthy man, like, and I had all the money in the world to pay for all
I
those
see where you're going, brother. Talk it. Say that word.
Who would I pay?
Yeah.
Like, how would I get the opportunity to...
What we do is fucking priceless.
Right.
And anybody that says differently hasn't been on the road with
Cheers.
us. Oh, yeah, man. Wait.
Ah.
Beer and... wait, this, then this. Yeah. Chasers. Chasers.
Yeah.
Thanks, too, by the way. And Sean. Cheers. That's some special Jameson. It's not the regular one. I can't remember what it was called. Sean brought that.
Jameson 12? There's a 12-year age Jameson that's very good.
It could be, honestly. I don't know. That's one thing I love about having podcasts. Everybody always brings me presents.
Right.
I love it.
I didn't bring you a present. I feel
You
bad
are my
now.
present.
Ah.
Dude, I haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Too long.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut this off right now because I want to get to the end of the show.
Right.
Band is on stage. You're sound checking.
Okay.
You are starting with drums.
I do drums, I do bass, I do keys, I do guitars, I do horns, vocals
Okay.
as we go
Time
through.
out. Bass. Mic'd or DI?
Sometimes both. I don't always use both when in the mix.
Yeah. Most people use DI, right?
It's got
But bass players like mics. Why?
Well, it used to be that DIs you had the chance of like buzz and distortion in the top end.
Yeah.
You can cut the top end off a DI if you have a mic in front of the cabinet, and you can get the top end out of the mic.
Man, I'm so wrong. I thought it was about the low end.
No,
No,
it's just it's all about like yeah. I mean, like if you put like a low pass filter on the bass channel and only take everything above like I don't know a 2K from the DI.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
You said 2K. Now, a lot of musicians talk like they know what it means and stuff like this.
Okay.
Usually talk more than they actually know.
Right.
When you're talking 2K, what is a frequency for bass normally? Like, let's just give the listeners like an idea of where's
Okay.
2K.
Well,
Get close to the mic.
sorry. Sound
man.
Yeah. Touche.
K-Man wins.
I don't know if you're definitely old enough to remember color bars on the television.
I think you just called me old, motherfucker.
No, I remember color bars on the television. I don't know if your listeners are old enough to remember color bars on the television.
I don't know if they're old enough to fucking have supper with me either, but I ain't asking that question.
Okay.
Now check it out.
So, color bars on the television had a 1K tone, 1,000 hertz,
Okay.
right? 2K is double that.
Yes. What is
So-
a hertz?
A hertz is a 1 cycle per second,
Okay.
right? So 1,000 cycles per second is what color bars sound like. 2 kilohertz is twice that. Because of the way it works out, and I can't remember the music theory behind this, as you go up in the frequencies,
Yeah.
they get close. You have to go further. Like 4 kilohertz and 2 kilohertz are as close as 2 kilohertz and 1 kilohertz kind of thing.
Right.
And I can't remember what the explanation for that
I
is.
so regret asking this question. I'm sorry, dude. I was so
Anyway.
thinking about other things already. I already did like the teachers talking and went la-di-da, and I forgot why I wasn't good in school. Dude, I was thinking, oh, I hear shoveling outside. Then I'm thinking, oh yeah, the Grenade, the bar. That's where he wants to stop. I wonder if I could get out and go have a beer. That's what was going through my head as you're talking about hertz. Dude, whoa, boom.
Okay, so to answer your question, what's a frequency for bass?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, bass is an instrument that spans the frequency spectrum. So it's like,
and that's why it takes so much room.
yes, and also why it's kind of challenging to get it to fit into a mix, because it does have frequencies that live at like 40, 50 hertz.
Where does my vocal sit?
Your vocals are around 1.6.
And so is that in any frequencies that the bass uses?
Sort of.
All right, get out of my house, my house. That was meant for Frankie, our bass player, by the way.
No, but I've never, the Frankie's bass tone is such that I've never had to do anything to it to get your vocal to sit right.
You got it, brother.
I do have to do stuff to the sax.
Yeah.
The sax covers you up, so I have to do a dip.
Because like just where my voice sits,
Yeah.
that's where a sax wants to sit, so we have to play with it to separate them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
It's freaking awesome. Andrew, I'm going to have you back on the show. And I'm so happy to see you. It's been too long, my friend.
Indeed.
I love being on the road with you. And we will do it again. I know this for a fact. And I will see you in Toronto at the Bovine. Not this weekend coming, the one after. On the Friday, I think it's the 20th or 21st. Go to Cayman and the 45s, or go to Cayman 45 on Facebook, and it's either the 20th or the 21st at the Bovine Sex Club. I don't know why it's called that.
I don't either. I know the owner a little bit, and I don't know why he called it that, but it just...
Dude, it's a great name, and I love the place. It's like a mini first.
I feel like it's a movie reference. I think it's got to be a movie reference.
Do you know it's like I love the name, and I love the place, and I love the people that work there. I love the look and the sound and the shows that go on there. Do you know the one thing that's annoying about it though? I went to do some social media thing and say, hey, we're playing in Toronto at the Bovine, and I went to click here's $5, do an ad saying we're coming to town, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't let me because it said Bovine Sex Club. I learned something new.
That's a Facebook thing, or is that a Bovine thing? That's not a Bovine thing.
No, that's a Facebook thing. Yeah, dude, they don't care. They named the place. and we're fucking acting all rock and roll inside their place. My brother, cheers. I fucking great having you here. And let's go have a drink at the Grenade after. Wow, what an episode. It was so great to hang out with Andrew. I really love sitting down with him. I think in the future what I want to do is have him and Dave Cooper from the bass player from the Planet Smashers here together, because to hear those guys talk and go on and on and on, it's just, it's worth it. It's absolutely fantastic, most entertaining. I just want to say thanks again to InPrint, our sponsor here at K-Man Don't Know Shit, and remind you all to hit the subscribe button and that bell thing or whatever it is, and we'll see you next time. So stay cool. Peace out, guys. Oh, K-Man Don't Know Shit.